Hello there, and welcome to this video about the most common mistakes made in audits. Audits are important checks and balances that keep everything running smoothly. Mistakes during audits not only undermine their credibility, but can lead to severe repercussions for the organization. In today's video, we'll explore the 5 most common audit mistakes, backed by real-world examples, and share actionable tips to avoid them. Understanding common pitfalls can significantly improve the quality and impact of your audits. Alright, let's start with the foundation of any successful endeavor planning. Without a solid plan, even the best intentions can go awry. Inadequate planning in an audit is like forgetting to bring a map on a road trip. You might have a destination in mind, but without a clear route, you're bound to get lost. Poor planning often results from underestimating the scope of the audit or failing to allocate enough time and resources. This can lead to stress, confusion, and ultimately, a failed audit. For example, imagine you're an auditor tasked with reviewing a company's cybersecurity protocols. At first glance, it might seem straightforward. You breeze through the initial stages, only to discover halfway through that the company has a complex network of overseas subsidiaries, each with its own set of security vulnerabilities. This adds layers of complexity you hadn't anticipated. Suddenly, your carefully constructed timeline crumbles, and you're left scrambling to catch up. The pressure mounts as deadlines loom closer. You're forced to cut corners, make assumptions, and rely on the company's word rather than conducting thorough testing. This compromises the integrity of the audit. So how do you avoid this audit apocalypse? The answer lies in meticulous preparation and foresight. It's simple. Plan, and then plan some more. Leave no stone unturned and anticipate potential challenges. Define your objectives, understand the scope of the audit, and allocate sufficient time and resources. By doing so, you set yourself up for success and ensure a thorough, accurate audit. Welcome back to our audit adventure. Now picture this. You've meticulously planned your audit, gathered all the necessary information, and uncovered some groundbreaking findings. But then, disaster strikes. You realize you haven't properly documented your work. Insufficient documentation is the audit equivalent of trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. Auditors may assume certain findings are self-explanatory, or run out of time to document them thoroughly. Let's say you uncover a discrepancy in a company's expense reports, but didn't write it down. Without proper documentation, it's your word against theirs. So how do you avoid this documentation debacle? Document everything. Keep detailed records of your procedures, findings, and the evidence you collected. Chapter 3. Overlooking internal controls. Trust but verify. Seriously, verify. Welcome back to our thrilling series on audit mistakes. Today, we're going to delve into one of the most critical aspects of auditing that often gets overlooked. Today, we're diving into the treacherous waters of internal controls. These are the mechanisms that keep the financial ship steady, preventing it from capsizing in the stormy seas of errors and fraud. Internal controls are like the unsung heroes of the financial world. They work behind the scenes, ensuring everything runs smoothly and according to plan. They're the rules, processes, and procedures that organizations put in place to prevent fraud, errors, and general mayhem. Think of them as the invisible guardians of financial integrity. However, even the most well-intentioned internal controls can fail, especially if auditors take them for granted. This is where the real danger lies. Overlooking internal controls is like assuming that just because a restaurant has a 5-star rating, you won't find a stray hair in your soup. It's a risky assumption that can lead to unpleasant surprises. Auditors sometimes take internal controls for granted, assuming they're functioning correctly based on management's assertions. But remember, appearances can be deceiving. Let's say you're auditing a company's purchasing process. You might think everything is in order just by glancing at the documentation. You review their internal control documentation, but fail to dig deeper. This superficial check can miss critical flaws. What you might discover is that while the company has a lovely flowchart, the person responsible for approving purchase orders is also the one placing them. This is a glaring conflict of interest. So, how do you avoid falling into this trap of complacency? The answer lies in a healthy dose of skepticism and thorough testing. It's simple. Channel your inner skeptic. Test those controls. Don't just take them at face value. Dig deeper and verify their effectiveness. Remember, internal controls are only as good as their implementation and enforcement. Regular testing and verification are key to ensuring they function as intended. Chapter 4. Lack of professional skepticism. Question everything, like a 5-year-old high on juice boxes. Welcome back to our audit extravaganza. We're diving into the world of auditing with a fresh perspective. Now, let's talk about one of the most important yet often overlooked aspects of auditing, professional skepticism. This is the cornerstone of effective auditing. Professional skepticism isn't about being a cynical, distrustful grump. It's about maintaining an inquisitive mindset. It's about approaching your work with a healthy dose of curiosity, questioning everything, and refusing to accept anything at face value. Think of it as a detective on a mission. Auditors may inadvertently become over-reliant on management's explanations or overlook red flags to maintain a positive working relationship. This can be a dangerous pitfall. Imagine you're auditing a company's revenue recognition practices. This is a critical area where skepticism is essential. Management presents you with a rosy picture of consistent growth and impeccable accounting. Everything looks perfect on the surface. But what if that revenue growth is being artificially inflated through creative accounting or worse, outright fraud? This is where your skepticism comes into play. So how do you cultivate this essential skepticism? Question everything. Leave no stone unturned. Don't be afraid to dig deeper, challenge assumptions, and demand evidence. Your role is to ensure accuracy and integrity. A healthy dose of skepticism is crucial for uncovering the truth and ensuring the integrity of your audit. Remember, your diligence can make all the difference. Chapter 5. Ineffective Communication, because nobody likes a surprise audit report. Welcome back to our Audit Odyssey. We've reached our final destination, ineffective communication. Ineffective communication is like playing a game of telephone, but instead of whispering a funny phrase, you're trying to convey complex financial information. Miscommunication between auditors, management, or stakeholders often results from unclear reporting, technical jargon, or delayed updates. Imagine this. You've spent weeks, maybe even months, completing an audit. You proudly present your meticulously crafted audit report to management, only to be met with blank stares and confused murmurs. Effective communication is crucial throughout the audit process. So how do you avoid the pitfalls of ineffective communication? Communicate clearly, concisely, and frequently. Tailor your language to your audience, provide timely updates, and don't be afraid to pick up the phone and have a conversation. Outro: don't be an audit horror story. Let's summarize the top 5 audit mistakes: inadequate planning, insufficient documentation, overlooking internal controls, lack of professional skepticism, and ineffective communication. Avoiding these can transform your audits from routine checks into value-adding activities. The foundation of an effective audit lies in meticulous planning, thorough execution, and clear communication. Investing in the right tools and training is equally crucial. By understanding these common pitfalls and implementing the strategies we've discussed, you can avoid these mistakes and conduct audits that are not only effective, but even a little bit enjoyable. Until next time, happy auditing.